Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Zymo by developer C. Fantarella. This is a first-person run-for-your-life sci-fi procedurally generated foot race game, and yes, I did just coin that genre just now. It's a very strange premise, but it's actually a pretty cool idea, and it's something that I think I haven't really seen done exactly like this before. I've seen a couple of derivations that are somewhat similar, but it kind of treads its own ground. So the premise here is we're going to be spawning into a little capsule, and then eventually we'll open up that capsule and be unleashed into this little desert area where there's going to be robots chasing us around. We need to go ahead and grab a bunch of capsules to try and lengthen the amount of time that we can stay alive. And then there's also going to be beta blockers to try and stabilize our heartbeat. And then we want to basically open up all the gates we can, try and get to the other side and escape the level without getting killed or have our timer run out. And it's all procedurally generated, so every time we play it's going to be a little bit different. We can set a bunch of these metrics here on the basic UI menu. We've got a difficulty slider. I have it set right at the middle. Default set for the path length, 250 meters seems fine. We can probably come back and play with that later. Starting time, that's 20 seconds on the clock when we first start. We could probably make that a bit longer, but again, I think default settings will probably be appropriate for this. We can show the wormhole. That's not a dirty euphemism. That's actually just a little intro sequence that will probably toggle off after the first time it's seen. Permadeath, instead of getting killed when a mortar hits you or maybe your heartbeat gets a little out of control, you'll actually just be knocked out for a time being, and then you'll come back and be able to hopefully finish the match or the level as long as you still have a sufficient amount of time left. And the seed value we can set up for our own level string if we want to have this generate something that's repeatable each time. I think random is fine for the moment. And this was actually designed for a game jam called the Indie Quilt, which I haven't really seen any other games from, but this one seems like it's a kind of stand out on its own anyway. So the keys involved here, mostly basic stuff. We just want to use WASD to run around, spacebar to jump. We default to run, so we want to hold shift to stop running to try and stabilize our heartbeat if things get too out of control. And actually middle mouse in this case is going to be use. So let's start the game. We'll take a run through the first level that we're generated on, and we'll see how it goes. This is like technically an alpha version of this build, so if we run into any bugs or anything, bugs will be potentially expected to some degree. I've had a couple of runs where like things got generated kind of poorly, and I actually was getting bombed while I was still in the capsule and getting hurt. So as soon as I took my first damage, I ended up getting killed, which is kind of unfortunate. So just to get a quick look at the UI here, we've got a radar that's showing where the enemy combatants are. It's a little bit out of the way in a place where it's kind of hard to see. I would have probably preferred something that's kind of right up on the screen so we can basically see if there's going to be an enemy right on top of us. And then we've got various orbs and things that we're going to look out for. So let's open it up and the timer will start. And then we're just going to make a beeline for orbs and try and not get killed if we can. So we've got plus orbs, we've got time orbs. That's a gate. We need to go get a purple orb to fill that up. I just saw it as I was running by, but I chose not to grab it so I could show you the point of it. We do actually have to hit middle mouse to pick that up, which is a little bit unintuitive in my opinion if you're going to be running super fast through an area to have to completely stop where you're potentially getting mortared at. If that's the correct usage of that term, I don't think it is. But then you will have to actually take a look around, try and line up the cursor, and then wait for this gate to open, which potentially I need to be collecting more timer increases while that's happening. You don't have to necessarily get all of them, but it does certainly help. And then we can proceed to the next area where there will then be another sort of replication of that same formula. Our heartbeat is getting a little out of control, so I've used that to try and lower it down a little bit. Just done a little bit of a walk instead of a run. We've got another gate coming up. And, oh god, I'm getting bombed. Slow down. Oh no. I'm blacking out and objective just failed. I don't know if that was because I took too much damage or because my timer ran out. I wasn't actually able to watch the clock while I was doing that. But once the objective has failed, as far as I can tell, you can still keep playing until you get killed. This freaking guy's got a little bunker up here. What a jerk. Could not pick up time extension. Okay, so there is no time for me anymore. What is this orange thing up here on the radar? It's just, oh, the lens flare to let me know where this purple orb is, I guess. So what happens now if I take this orb to this gate and I try and still proceed through the level as normal? Because it doesn't fail. Like, I mean, I failed, but I don't quit. So I kind of want to see what happens if we still proceed on. But anyway, some of the criticisms that I've had about this The minor things anyway, just a little bit more versatility in terms of, how the UI works would be nice. The ability to see the radar right up on top of your face, so you don't have to keep looking to the side of things, would be much appreciated. I'm pretty sure that would be a lot of difficulty to implement in the actual game, but it would be nice nonetheless. Also, some more variability in the way that the level design is handled would be cool. Some more, maybe vertical stuff going on would be great. And, okay, I've been killed. Well, we expected that to happen at some point, so that's fine. I did want to perhaps maybe start to lower the difficulty down a little bit, and we'll raise the time up so we have the odds stacked in our favor a little bit more. And we'll turn off Wormhole and Permadeath and go for another run and see how that goes. But I was imagining, like, if each gate maybe brought you to a new theme, or maybe there was some sort of overarching level design to it that involved... Oh, God. Well, that really didn't work out very well at all. I was imagining maybe some verticality for the placement on the key orbs would be really cool, so that way you have to kind of platform up to get to a certain point. Because right now everything is sort of equally weighted in its distribution, right? Like, there's not really a lot of special consideration given to the placement of the purple orb. It's just sort of stacked in with wherever the other ones are. And since it's the most vital of the orbs, it seems like that one probably needs its own goal involved. Although, I guess it sort of increases in the scavenger hunt element. Also, if you didn't have to pick it up would be great. Like, if you didn't have to actually click on it. Oh god, I keep getting shot! I was also imagining different types of AI for the robots. That it might be kind of cool if there were ones that chased you in addition to ones that mortared you. Because it does feel like, if we're running for our life, being chased seems like the obvious thing. Whereas being mortared, well, you can't really know where the mortars are going to be coming from. Like, you might even know where the robots are, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to know when you're about to be hit by a strike, so... it kind of does change the way the perspective on the whole situation goes. And there we go. Thank goodness I turned off permadeath, otherwise this would have been over a while ago. It's also kind of easy to get turned around, since all the environments sort of look pretty much the same. If you end up getting hit and black out, you might forget which direction is forward and which direction is where you came from. I mean, eventually you'll probably hit either the capsule you spawned in, or some kind of a, problem area, and then remember, but if you don't, well, you might end up losing a lot of time. So, I guess part of the game is just keeping focus on which direction you came from, but still, would be kind of nice if there was a way to keep that focus going. And we found the end, and the robot's going to come for a ride with us and mortar us even after we finish the level. So, I think that's a pretty good preview of what you can expect from Zymo. It's a pretty neat game. It definitely bears mentioning that there's still some work to be done on it. It is an alpha, though, so, that kind of comes with the territory. I had an entertaining time with it. I kind of just see the potential in it more than what's here right now, though. So this is one of those cases where if it seems like I was being overly favorable towards the game, it's mostly just because I really like the infrastructure and the groundwork of what's been laid already. And if this was to be continued to be developed, I could see this going somewhere pretty cool. And like the whole vitals balancing thing, it's a surprisingly nuanced and interesting touch. Although I am aware that this came sort of from another game that this developer is working on, which, when you're dealing with game jams, that sort of makes sense that would happen, to sort of borrow elements from another thing you're working on to make that process go a little bit faster. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, unless it's against the rules or something, and I don't actually know what all the rules were for Indie Quilt. But I'm going to be looking into it more, because maybe another game jam that I want to track whenever this happens. So anyway, that's going to be another video. Thank you everybody for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like on it. It does help me out and help spread the word about indie games that exist outside of the realms of usual coverage. So if you're into that concept and want to help people find out about stuff like this, it goes a long way to just leave a like. And of course, let me know what you think in the comments too, because this is certainly not a traditional gameplay concept, and I'd like to hear how you feel about the whole thing. If this is something that you might be interested in playing, if this is the type of thing that you might be interested in paying for, if it was further elaborated upon, or some of those criticisms that I mentioned might be addressed. And that's, again, keeping in mind this is an alpha, so there will always be some wiggle room for that type of thing. Not that I like to give complete passes for everything, but in this case, the game was basically playable, just occasional bugs and things, so, that's totally to be expected. But anyway, link's going to be in the description if you want to go try this. It is playable right in your browser, so you don't even have to download a client. I kind of wish I could download a client, though. I didn't find a download link anywhere, so I would like to set the resolution and stuff. That does help a little bit. But regardless, you can go ahead and play it right now if you like. Let me know what you think, and be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day, so I hope to see you back for another one tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a fantastic night. Talk to you later.